Hey you! So today we're going to be talking about the Dragon Ball Z Kai The Last Chapters Part 2, and this is where things get interesting. But before we jump into the review, why not hit that subscribe button, check the bell, so you get notified that when new videos come up, and why not give the video a like? It helps the channel grow, and it needs to grow! So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump straight into the review. So in my last review, I forgot to mention that where it left off, which was Goku versus Vegeta. Vegeta had been taken over by Babadi so he can get stronger, just therefore helping gain energy for Majin Buu, but that wasn't Vegeta's goal. It was boom, it was going straight to fight Goku, and that was pretty much it. This one, we pick up exactly where we left off, which is Goku versus Vegeta. So they start fighting as normal, and energy is kind of sent towards Buu to kind of be the revival, and Babadi and Deborah don't know about this yet. They don't know how much energy that they're going to produce. We have Trunks and Goten wanting to go to the fight to actually see if they can help out. They see the kind of appearance of Majin Buu. The kind of other gist of it is the fact is that Goku and Vegeta continue to fight. Vegeta knocks out Goku to save it so he can go and save the day for once. He then fights Majin Buu. He blows himself up, which is kind of very like, oh my god, what the hell, did not see Vegeta doing this. But then we obviously have the training for Gotenks, where we have Goku going Super Saiyan 3 and we have Majin Buu's kind of rampage. Then Gohan practicing with the Z Sword, releasing all the Kai and actually getting stronger, which is a 20-hour ritual, and that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. Let's talk about the special features. There's not really many special features for this. You get a commentary on one of the episodes with the actual cast, which is really kind of interesting. I recommend checking this one out. But also you get a lot of trailers. And one of my favorite trailers is for My Hero Academia, which I've been binge watching, which I actually generally enjoy. But that is a topic for another video. Let's talk about the overview. Now, this one to me is a little bit more kind of padded out. Rather than how it's really quickly of the Great Saiyaman, how he becomes, how the World Tournament is, and then obviously the kind of fighting with all of Babadi's men. This one felt very long-winded, and for something that as I've heard that Dragon Ball Z Kai is lowered down, that things are cut out for time, things are changed. I generally thought that this was a huge, massive chore to watch, which I actually hate saying because I wanted this to be the better one. To me, this wasn't that great. You have more focus on when Buu is released, them going around different cities and blowing stuff up, to then when Majin Buu gets rid of Babadi and actually goes and does his own thing. It felt that this was so stretched out that I couldn't watch it, and what annoyed me was Buu's voice was always like this, and Buu's gonna turn you to candy, and that sort of thing, which really kind of got to me after a while, which I had to skip and go to the point where Evil Buu came out. This was just such a long-winded thing for me. Some of the interesting fights was Goku versus Vegeta. You could see that Vegeta just wanted to let rip. He didn't care. He just wanted to see who was stronger. And I generally really liked this, even to the point where he sacrificed himself at the end because he wasn't thinking of himself. You could see that this character was changing, was doing stuff for him. And I like that. I like the character development in Vegeta. But then when you've got other characters like Buu and Gotenks, it really irritated me and really frustrated me. After the energy was transferred from Goku and Vegeta to where Deborah was then fighting Majin Buu and lost, but then was worried, I was generally like, these are the ones I want to see, not half a season of the same sort of thing. There were times when Buu started helping people, and I was generally like, wow, this character is now getting progression, but it's now the wrong sort. It's, I've learned my lesson, I'm now doing destruction, I'm helping someone, there's the destruction. And that kind of really made me go, Like when you had Mr. Satan come along and he wanted to defeat Buu by doing the whole thing that he'd normally do, but he found a way around some of this sort of stuff, which was absolutely fantastic. Rather than fighting Buu, he became his friend. And then suddenly when Buu, he'll be the puppy, it's more like, wow, you're actually doing that. But when Mr. Satan got shot, boom, this is when Buu lost it. You could see this anger and rage in him, which then created Evil Buu. But it was something that you wouldn't see, because Buu would be like, oh well, it's absolutely fine, I don't care about this, I'm gonna go do destruction. That's my Majin Buu impression, by the way. I think it's pretty decent. but you saw the fact that he got angry, and it showed that he had changed slightly, and I think that a little bit more he could have become a decent person and Evil Boo wouldn't come out. So at the very end is when you get Evil Boo going into the hyperbolic time chamber against Trunks and Goten, and then obviously you have Gotenks coming along obviously when they fuse. And it just felt like, I know that they were kids, but it felt like that when Piccolo was training them and saying, you can't do this, you have to really think about it, that they were like, oh, we don't care, we're strong enough, we'll do what I want. And even though I know that kids can sometimes have that mentality, it's like, you've got to learn. You've seen what he has done. Just grow up. Don't be that kid again. You've got to have your mindset on it. Like, if you want to be like Vegeta or Goku, think, not just be like, well, I'm going to be dead flashy all the time. But again, this was written all the way back yesterday, which was a long time ago, that they actually thought, yeah, this is how we thought the characters would be. So let's talk about the animation. The animation to me was pretty much the same. It was clear at some points, but at parts it looked like they put like a kind of like a soft filter over it, which worked and what didn't work, but most of it was kind of cleaned up. There wasn't that many black dots that I could see when going through the animation, so that was absolutely fine, and I thought, so very similar to the previous one. So let's talk about the writing. The writing was fine. As I said, like the way that Boo was written, it was very kind of, he is a massive child. It's like he wouldn't do destruction if Babadi was there. I think that if Boo was released, he would just go about his day and be like, he may cause a little bit of destruction. But I think that obviously with Babadi and the way that he controlled Boo, it was, like you could see at the very beginning, it's like Boo's jumping about, like, I'm free, la 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 la, I don't care. But as the progression, I just got very bored of this character and how it was written, because it was just the same thing for such a long time. If they could have cut things out, I think you could have cut a lot of stuff out of Boo and just referenced it really quickly, but Boo, the way that he was written, really kind of annoyed me. So let's talk about characters. Now, the main characters that I had a huge problem with were Boo, as you know, and the Gotenks. I found that these two characters weren't executed very well. So with Gotenks is when like both Goten and Trunks agreed on stuff with Piccolo. As soon as they fused, like, nah, it doesn't matter, I can take this, I can do stuff. When he was beaten badly at the very first point, it's like, oh, I'm now stronger. It's like, you should have learned from your mistakes. You should not just rush in. And this was annoying to me because I felt, oh, you've not learned your lesson. Now, I like characters that learn their lessons, that may go back a little bit and go, oops, forgot this. But with Gotenks, it's like he completely forgot. Even when he was talking to Piccolo, and Piccolo was like saying, you've got to do this. He's like, nah, I don't care. And it felt like the only part was that if he got his ass handed to him properly, to the point where he was on the verge of death, then you're like, okay, I understand this. But it was more about, I'm stronger anyway, doesn't care. It's like, Boo has just beaten you, and you're still with this cocky attitude. Like, I generally really hated it. I don't like Gotenks as a character from this. But beforehand, I thought, oh, he's kind of cool. But now, I just generally hate the character. Babadi was a kind of another one. I will touch about this in like the kind of next review for the third one. But Babadi to me was a character I wanted to punch in the face, and I wish that he'd gone straight away from when Dabura was taken down. I thought Dabura was a better character, but Babadi was the sort of character that was like a kid that would use other people in the schoolyard. Oh, I don't like you, so I'm going to get this person to beat you up. Oh, I don't like the way you're talking to me, I know people. That sort of character. I was like, can we just get rid of him? Because I felt like he didn't bring anything to the table, and this is what really kind of got to me. To the point when Boo turns on him much later on, it's like, oh, but I think Babadi had this sort of kind of cockiness, is like, well, I've got the most powerful thing on my side, but yet didn't kind of like take into consideration other people. Like Goku, when he does his transformation, he's like, oh well, you've just got another set of hairs there. Oh la la. And it's like, you've seen this power. He can rival Majin Buu right now, and you're just treating it like Goku is a piece of crap. I didn't like that as a character, and he kind of really irritated. So when he died, I was fine. But it's like every single time he'd be like, oh, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to put you back in the ball. It's like, well, do it then. Don't say it. Just put him back in the ball and then leave it. But then your entire whole thing of releasing him would have been pointless. So what made this interesting for me? Well, I have to say that it was the fact that you saw the Z fighters get beaten really quickly. It wasn't a thing where they could hold their own at times. They got beaten, and that's what I kind of found very interesting, because it wasn't just the generic let's do this, let's do that. It was a boom, we've been beaten, but we're going to come back stronger. I did also like the fact that when Evil Buu came along, he would take out the shooter that killed B. Then also he would fight like normal Majin Buu or Fat Buu, and then all of a sudden, as soon as like Fat Buu or Majin Buu was defeated, he absorbed him, but he used Majin Buu's main attack. So when like Majin Buu would be like, I'm going to turn you into candy, and Super was like, no you don't, and transformed, but ate him and had that kind of power boost. I found that really kind of interesting. But more of the fact on a psychological level is when he was going to go for Mr. Satan, he stopped because he remembered what happened and his friendship. So when Buu fired his like energy beam to kill everybody on Earth, it all dodged Mr. Satan and B. You know, it was that sort of protectiveness which I really found interesting. And my final thoughts. I like the continuation of the anime from where Goku was versus Vegeta. I found that very interesting, but as soon as Buu came along, I found myself just kind of skipping to kind of other episodes, or just wanting these episodes to kind of end, because I found the repetitiveness, the voice very kind of annoying until you got to Evil Buu, which again wasn't the best, but it was rather than a high pitch constantly. One thing I really wanted this was I wanted them to cut out a lot of the Buu stuff, mainly from the stance of that he's killed a load of people, he's met Goku, he kills Babadi, he heals the boy's eyes, and that was it. It wasn't the same sort of thing over and over again. They could have turned around and had Goku say, just give us 1 day or 2 days, and kind of just showed the training between Goten and Trunks, and then that was pretty much it. But it kind of got to the point of it frustrated me quite a lot, and I think a lot of that could have just been taken out. I didn't like the change of music. One of the most iconic things was the Super Saiyan 3 music, and seeing this taken out and replaced with something from Super just didn't have that sort of effect. The music to me was so iconic that I could see the power up. I could see it going boom and actually getting behind there.
And this,
What's he doing?
is to go even further beyond.
No, stop it, Goku! If you do this now, it's going to drain away all the time you have left on Earth. And I'd say you need every second of it as it is.
Ready?
Wow, you've been busy.
This next level goes way beyond Super Saiyan 2.
Stop that, Goku! Are you nuts? That form is too much of a drain on your energy. You'll use up everything you had for your trip. You didn't have much time to start with, and now you're gonna burn it all.
Very similar to how to the music in My Hero Academia, which is You Say Run. The way that builds up is so iconic that you know it's coming. With the Super Saiyan 3 music, that was very similar. To me, that was the version of You Say Run. But yeah, it just felt like they missed a huge opportunity. And the fact is, I don't know if it's the fact that they couldn't put it in due to Bruce's like contract, or they had to do it differently, or they wanted to try something different. But I think that without having that music, it didn't hold my attention. It's very weird to say, but that to me was a build-up point where I was like, oh my god, I need this. And even with Majin Buu's music, like where he, from what I remember in the uncut version, where he rushes and kills everyone on the lookout, that sort of music wasn't in. Now that I think about it, I was like, oh, I generally didn't like that, and I thought that having that score would have been better, but having something from Super, it doesn't kind of match well. I imagine anything that the music from Dragon Ball Super would be that would remind me of scenes in that, rather than, oh, let's just use it for Dragon Ball Z. One thing that I didn't understand is why Goku didn't get more time. They knew that this threat was happening, they could see what was going on, so I don't know why they couldn't just bend the rules and say, okay, we don't normally do this, but this is such a huge thing right now, but we're gonna send you back, we're gonna make sure that you can defeat Majin Buu, rather than say, oh, you have to come back in a day. I generally don't know why they didn't put that in there. If you know, please pop it in the comments down below. In all, this is something that I did like. I did like the progression of the story. Obviously, you saw that Gohan went to the world of the Kais. You know, he was interacting with Supreme Kai and Kibito. You know, you saw this is what I would have liked to see more of, but the whole Buu stuff really kind of lowers it for me. I know it's all about him, but again, as I said, you could have taken a lot of stuff out for it. So yeah, not happy with it, but I was happy enough to kind of collect it. I just hate Boo's voice. It's really kind of annoying later on, like the whole "You do Boo! Ah!" You know, it's just like, you know, when he screams and shouts, it just angers me quite a lot. So Rangers, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on it? Are you happy that you know this has come out? Are you happy that it's added into the collection? What are your thoughts on Majin Buu? Was I right or was I wrong? Let me know down below in the comments. And also, if you like this video, like, favorite, comment, and consider subscribing. Check out all the other videos on the channel, as well as hitting that notification bell while you're down there, so you'll be notified that when new videos come along. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.